battle for Medieval 2 Total War, and this is part of the Horse Archer Tactics series. So we're going to take a look at Horse Archers again in this battle and just see if we can make some more tactics from their use in this battle as well. So I am in command of the Moors, and I've brought a cavalry sort of army consisting of about 3 units of these Christian Guard cavalry, 2 units of the Tuareg camel spearmen, and then 2 units of the Grenadine crossbow cavalry. And you'll probably note at this point that yes, there is a lot of cavalry in this battle. It seems that horse archers only ever do really well when a lot of cavalry is involved. So the fact I've been allowed to bring so much cavalry has obviously had an effect on me bringing horse archers in this battle. The more cavalry I'm allowed, the more I can bring in the battle. So yeah, playing as the Moors, and the Grenadine crossbow cavalry are my missile contingent. Currently skirmishing away at the Portuguese pikemen. The great thing about missile cavalry in general is that they can stay away from pikemen whilst shooting at them. So the fact they are cavalry is not an issue against pikemen. As I said, just being able to shoot them out of the range of the pikes. But we're going to switch targets. We're going to move on to these Portuguese knights, and we're just going to slow it down because the action starts quite fast in this battle. I know there's a lot I want to go over in terms of the use of horse archers against units like cavalry. So we are plucking away at the enemy knights here. Not getting too many kills though. I found that in this battle that the Grenadine crossbow cavalry doesn't seem to get a lot of kills on knights. That said, I am firing from the front, so that might have a lot to do with it. And the fact that these guys I think they have quite big shields on the order units have quite large shields, and the shield value is obviously going to be important in this battle. But the crossbow bolts from my Grenadine crossbow cavalry are armour piercing, so their armour is not going to save them from the death my crossbowmen will bring. And what I'm also doing is focus firing. So these 2 units are focus firing on this 1 cavalry unit. I think it's important to focus fire units like horse archers on 1 target, because you want to get the maximum amount of damage down before the cavalry either retreats or charges forward to try and take you out. But we are doing some damage now. It's been, I'd say, a minute or 2 of firing, and we've already taken this unit down to 32. It's probably been about 3 or 4 volleys from both units. So it's it's going to do some damage. The crossbows will eventually do the damage that they need to. So over here we sort of charge forward to try to get a flank on these knights, because if you can get a flank and fire into the flank of a unit, you're going to get more damage done. But we do uncover this unit of knights, and we're going to start the process again, sort of focus firing on this unit to weaken it. And the Portuguese are currently moving over all of their crossbowmen to shoot at our missiles, our horse archers, should I say? And this is quite a good move, but it's drawn him away from my own crossbowmen. And this is what I wanted. I wanted to divide his crossbowmen's attention either to my horse archers or to my foot crossbowmen, and allow my foot crossbowmen now to get free rein on his pikemen and other units. So in the same way that we managed to make Egypt form a defensive perimeter with the use of our horse archers, in this battle we've focused the enemy missiles in quite an odd formation as well against our horse archers completely. and it's meant that our own archers have free reign on the enemy infantry. Had he started firing at my foot missiles, then my horse archers would have had free reign against his cavalry. And then quite wisely, he's decided to charge his cavalry forward to try and push our Grenadine crossbow cavalry out of the way. However, this is a bad position for the Portuguese cavalry. My Christian Guard are pretty much a match for the conquistadors, but the fact that there are Tuaregs camel spearmen in here is going to cause these conquistadors to rout. Camels, you do not want to get your cavalry stuck in a battle against camels, and you'll see quite a lot of these fresh Portuguese cavalry who have looked to be winning a fight end up routing with a good decent numbers left in their unit, and it's because of the combined action of the camel spearmen, the Christian Guard, and I also have some gunners on the left flank doing some more morale damage. So it's all causing morale damage, and there's going to be units routing with some pretty decent numbers. They will come back, but as I say, it's going to force them back and allow the rest of my cavalry to surround and defeat the Portuguese cavalry. All the while, I'm skirmishing away at this poor unit of Knights of Santiago, who are still taking damage from the Grenadine crossbowmen cavalry. However, this is going to be a bad situation for the Grenadine crossbowmen. The crossbow armed missile cavalry tend to not be very good in melee as compared to the horse archers of sort of the Byzantines and things. So they tend to suffer quite badly in terms of melee combat, and it often doesn't go that well for them. But we are cleaning up the Portuguese cav, and as I say, it's simply because the Portuguese cavalry got themselves stuck in a situation they didn't want to be, because they were drawn in by our own crossbow cavalry. So the use of our crossbow cavalry has drawn the Portuguese cavalry into this bad situation, and now they are surrounded in a fight against camels and Christian Guard, and there are gunners on the flank as well trying to shoot at them. So it's turning into quite a bad situation for the Portuguese cavalry, and it's not a battle they really want to be in. It's at this point that I'd like to sort of mention there's both factions I've played as, the Byzantines and the Moors, are not well known for I say not well known for their cavalry. The Byzantines are, but generally speaking, their cavalry is pretty underpowered in this game, and the Moors are definitely not known for their cavalry. Other than the Christian Guard, which is subpar at best, they don't tend to be a very powerful cavalry faction. So tend to suffer in with regards to against these sort of heavy knights and conquistadors. But with both of these factions, I found that horse archers or sort of skirmish tactics often worked quite well in getting the enemy cavalry into these bad positions where your own cavalry can actually defeat them. These tactics of skirmishing and drawing them into these this mix of Christian Guard and camel spearmen seems to be the best way for the Moors to defeat more powerful cavalry forces. So it turned out quite well in this battle, because the Portuguese cav was not only numerous but also slightly more powerful than our own cavalry. In fact, you can see it by the numbers that the longer my cavalry stay in melee against the Portuguese cavalry, the worse off they become. And actually, I barely pull out this battle with any cavalry at all. The difference is my infantry is currently winning the combat. I've got either significantly more infantry or my Christian Guard are significantly better infantry, and they are cutting through a lot of these units. And there's some feudal knights and some aventuros that have dropped their spears, unfortunately. Currently getting cut down by the Christian Guard. So my infantry is significantly better, so I don't need my cavalry as much as the Portuguese do. All I need for my cavalry is for it to defeat the Portuguese cavalry. And you can see it here with regards to the Grenadine crossbowmen's ineptness in melee, even against Pavis crossbowmen with their swords. They're just not surviving that well at all, despite having this cool armour that reminds me of the Tabarderia armours. Really nice armour. I really do like the eastern sort of looking heavy armours compared to other, I mean the more sort of generic European factions with your kettle helmets and your chainmail, but these guys do look quite sweet. And there's even some sort of mailed Christian Guard in here that look a bit like Norman knights, just with smaller shields. So we're currently cleaning up the Pavis crossbowmen, and our infantry is currently defeating the Portuguese infantry. So it's all turning rather sour without the Portuguese cavalry to assist. And it was fortunate that we were able to get them into that situation. As I said in the previous video, the horse archers seem to be more for making people do things they really shouldn't do. I mean, the Portuguese player had quite a strong infantry corps that he really needed to thrust against me. But he really needed his cavalry kept away from my camel spearmen and gunners, and he needed it more to assist his infantry than I needed mine to assist my own infantry. So as you can see, with the death of the Portuguese general, his army is going to start routing after being outflanked and put up against these superior Christian Guard swordsmen and the gunners. I don't know how much the gunners did in this battle, but they do cause fear, and fear is what I was going for in this battle, especially against the cavalry. If you can't defeat the enemy cavalry, you might as well make it rout, and then you'll deal with them later on. So that's pretty much it. My general's currently cutting swathes through these Pavis crossbowmen, who actually did quite a number on my own cavalry. My weakened Christian Guard cavalry just didn't have the mass to break through them, and as I say, the Grenadine crossbowmen were slaughtered on the edge there against the Pavis crossbowmen. So not made for melee as much as the horse archers are. I'm starting to prefer the horse archers than the crossbow mounted ones. However, that said, even firing from the front against those knights, they did a hell of a number against the knights here. There's easily 10 or 12 kills on each unit there. So yeah, really good damage on them when they were allowed to sort of fire against them, even when they had these sort of shields up in a stationary position. Certainly, the bow horse archers tend to do better against cavalry that's moving. If you can draw the enemy cavalry out and make them chase you, then you'll do a lot of damage because they're not protecting themselves with the shields as much. But in this regard, the sheer power of the Grenadine crossbow cavalry really did show against the stationary cavalry. I believe they've got about 7 missile attack and the armour piercing trait, so they do quite high damage at the cost of not being as fast as other horse archer cavalry. They don't have the small ponies, according to Emperor of the Great Unknown and his sources, so they tend to not be able to escape as quickly as other horse archers, and that obviously is quite an important factor because it means you have to really watch the battlefield a lot in order to watch out for that. So that's basically the use of the horse archers. All we're going to do is sort of finish up the battle, and it's going to take us quite a while. As you can see from the timer, we're only about halfway through this battle, and we've only just killed the Portuguese, so a lot of the other bits is going to be us marching towards the other players. So we're just going to fast forward and get to the end of this battle. In fact, I'm going to cut it here actually and get to the battle screen results, and we can see how effective the crossbow cavalry were in this battle. So I shall be right back. Okay, so we are back at the end results, so we're going to just check out the statistics and see what our overall cavalry did, because it was a joint effort in this battle. So my general got 93 kills. Again, it was killing those pesky crossbowmen, so yeah, I'm not surprised by that. And then the Grenadine crossbow cavalry, 26 kills by one and 40 kills by the other. Considering they were all night kills, all night cavalry kills, it's quite a good result there. They are fairly expensive, considering they are sort of, as they're so good at being crossbow cavalry. But yeah, considering those were night kills, and each cavalry unit you weaken, the better it's going to be for your own cavalry. They did do their job quite well, and more importantly, they drew the enemy cavalry out, which is why a lot of my own cavalry got quite a lot of kills. Although 75 kills, yeah, this is what I mean about Christian Guard. Even though they had that advantage, they still didn't really perform as well as they probably could have. Even though they were pitted up against your Knights of Santiago and Conquistadors, which are not considered the best cavalry in the game, but certainly Conquistadors are a match for Christian Guard. And then the Turek camel spearmen, I don't know why they don't do so well against cavalry. They just don't seem to perform to the camels or the camel units in Medieval 2. But they were there to scare the enemy, and they succeeded in that, which gave my men more time to surround and inflict their own damage. So yeah, they were useful. Yeah, I won't say that they weren't useful at all. They certainly played their part quite well. And that just allowed my infantry to do its job. My infantry was always going to be superior with these 4 Christian Guard. So as I said, not surprised at how well my infantry did. But yeah, a nice useful unit, the Grenadine crossbow cavalry, especially for, as I say, a faction that doesn't have really good cavalry. Against a faction like the Moors, you could really rely on using the crossbowmen just to help you draw the enemy cavalry into a better position for your own cavalry, either with spear support or these camel spearmen. Anyway, that was the second battle of my horse archer series. I hope to get some more out, but they're a bit hit and miss. Horse archers. I tend to prefer using them in games where there's no limit on cavalry and the money's lower, which will allow for A, more use of the cheaper horse archers, and B, will allow for more use of lower armoured cavalry, which is where horse archers will excel at killing. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this battle, and I shall see you all in the next video.